First, we have April Fools in video games. Then, we had Halloween in video games. So you know what comes next? Yeah! Los Reyes Magos! Unfortunately for most of you, that is only celebrated in Latin America, and besides, I couldn't find any Reyes Magos stuff in video games. So instead I'm going with the second best thing. Christmas! Yeah, you can all bring up that Christmas is all about consumerism and hypocrisy in which you have to give gifts to people you don't care about. But if you have meaningful and genuine relationships with others, then it is easier to appreciate these days. Christmas is great, and because of that, I'm also going to do a video about how this festivity is celebrated by video games, so you know the drill. Anything goes. Costumes, characters, events, levels, as long as it's Christmas, it can go here. So just like the Halloween video, I'm going to start this by talking about a bunch of Sega properties because if I don't, my roommate will not hesitate to kill me. He is the biggest Sega fan that I know. Last time I made a topic similar to this one, I made mention of a scrap Nights into Dreams Halloween level that never saw the light of day. Luckily for us Santa believers, Christmas Nights is an actual thing you can experience. Originally a separate demo disc you could acquire through magazine subscriptions, game bundles, and Blockbuster in America back in the day, and a special game mode you can unlock in modern re-releases of the game nowadays. This is nothing more than the first level and first boss battle of the game with a cute Christmas coat of paint. But what makes this disc so special is the amount of love it has behind it. There's a bunch of Christmas music as well as remixes from the main game. You can unlock extra features such as a karaoke, special modes, and a minigame where you can play as Sonic the Hedgehog. And to top it all off, if you play this mode on certain dates, you'll get some cool Easter eggs. Through all of winter, you get a special title screen as well as unique outfits for the playable kids. On early January, you also get a New Year title screen and again, different outfits. On February 14, you'll have hearts raining all over the place to celebrate Valentine's Day. And 1 month later, on March 14, candies will be raining instead. On April 1st, Riala will replace Knights as a playable character. And finally, during the Christmas season, the title screen will feature Knights wearing a Santa outfit, and there is a chance Santa Claus will randomly appear in the background while playing the game. Santa deniers definitely molded at that, no doubt. And speaking of nights, Sonic Adventure also had a Christmas event which you could download online for your Dreamcast. While this DLC didn't alter a single level like the Halloween event, it instead placed a bunch of Christmas trees all over Station Square decorated with Sonic and Chao ornaments. And if you touch the trees, you could get special messages and it will trigger a song from Christmas Nights. But here's the funny thing, this DLC can actually softlock your progress in the game, because one of these trees spawns right on top of the ID card necessary to enter Speed Highway. This shouldn't be an issue if you already did the level and you can always uninstall the DLC. But it is funny to think how a harmless celebration in a game can stop your entire progress. And again, just like Halloween, Sonic Adventure 2 also came in with a bunch of Christmas outfits for all 6 playable characters. Tails and Neckman's mechs get a red and white peppermint paint job. Knuckles decorates his dreadlocks with green stripes and bells. Rouge's outfit gets a new color scheme and even paints her wings to match. While Sonic and Shadow get some Santa jackets, and do you wanna know something interesting? This Sonic outfit actually returned to Sonic Frontiers as a free DLC, more than 20 years later. That's pretty cool, honestly. Oh, but we are not done with Sega games and the Dreamcast just yet. Now let's go to Shenmue, the game I've never once forgotten to talk about before. Now, I never played Shenmue before, but my roommate really loves this game, if you couldn't tell, and he kindly persuaded me into mentioning the Christmas event in this game. So, Shenmue is a game with a calendar system that takes place in the city of Yokosuka, and throughout the year you can spot some changes in the town of Dobuita. From December 15 to Christmas Day, the entire shopping district will be filled with the Christmas spirit, with tons of seasonal music playing all over the place. The shops will get a bunch of Christmas decorations. There's even banners advertising the Christmas sale, and one guy dresses up as Santa Claus and constantly encourages you to buy stuff in the shopping district.
Merry Christmas! Ho ho ho!
And according to my roommate, after Christmas, there's an optional cutscene you can get where one of the characters, Nozomi, vents her problems with the protagonist Ryo, and how she wishes they could have spent Christmas together, which apparently is a very iconic and beloved scene for Shenmue fans. Okay, is that good enough, Isaiah? Great. Now that my life has been spared, there's at least one more Sega property I want to talk about, but this time on my own free will. The Yakuza games, yeah! For those who aren't too familiar with them or haven't been paying a lot of attention, most of these games tend to take place around the holidays, although, to be fair, the games understandably do the bare minimum when it comes to Christmas stuff. At best, you will see a few decorations here and there. But overall, it's not like Santa Claus shows up in the main stories or something like that. Now, if we go to the sub-stories, that's an entirely different thing. And the one that stands out the most is Saejima's Santa Hunter sub-story in Yakuza 5. A side quest where one of the main characters, Taiga Saejima, investigates a bunch of delinquents beating up people who wear Santa costumes. This leads to Saejima to use himself as bait by dressing as Santa Claus to lure out the criminals. But this causes a bunch of kids to believe he is the real Santa and starts to constantly bother him. After Saejima escapes from the kids, he finds the real Santa hunters and teaches them a lesson in true Yakuza fashion. When the kids show up once again, Saejima gives them the weapons that the criminals were using and thus saves Christmas. This has always been one of the most memorable sub-stories in the entire series. It's just that damn funny! And most recently, Like a Dragon Gaiden introduced a new karaoke song called Sayonara Silent Night, which is all about a tragic love and Christmas and... oh my god, it is so good! It's very catchy, emotional and just so different from the rest. Definitely a standout in the sea of already great Yakuza karaoke songs. If you want more amazing tracks, then please check out my video where I talk about the top 10 best karaoke songs in the series. Now, finally moving away from Sega, there's still plenty of games whose events take place around Christmas. And yes, that gives me the perfect excuse to talk about Bully once again, cause damn do I love this game! Unlike Halloween, who only has 2 missions dedicated to it, a good chunk of Chapter 3's story takes place around Christmas, with a few missions focusing on it. In one of them, you just have to pick an ugly Christmas sweater your mom sent to you, which causes a lot of students to laugh at you. In another mission, you have to help a hobo dressed up like Santa Claus by throwing snowballs at a bunch of teenagers. There's another great one where you must destroy an entire Santa meetup and then you fight a bunch of elves. And in order to save Christmas, Jimmy is forced to dress up as a nutcracker and play the xylophone in front of the entire school. And finally, you must help the Santa hobo once again to gain money by setting up a fake Santa meetup and scam a bunch of kids. All of these missions are as crazy as they are funny. Bully is a gem that you should totally play if you still haven't. Saints Row 4 has a DLC called How the Saints Save Christmas, which yes, is just as stupid and chaotic as it sounds. It's a story in which the Saints must prevent Santa Claus from becoming a goth tyrant who will be powerful enough to put the entire universe on the naughty list, all while the protagonist learns the true meaning of Christmas and eventually makes their way into the nice list by spreading joy to others and by making wonderful memories with their friends. Also, a quick mention I wanna make: Bayonetta 2 is technically a Christmas game, in the same way Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Very old joke, but it's true. Bayonetta 2 unfortunately loses its Christmas magic after the prologue, but at least that prologue is so iconic that I just have to mention it. Seeing Rodin dressed up as Santa Claus will always crack me up without fail. And of course, who can forget Bayonetta's iconic quote of
"It's not Christmas without caviar." Let's finish this quickly then.
Batman Arkham Origins. You know, for the longest time, I've seen people call this the worst Arkham game, but I recently played it and... dare I say I loved it so much? I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the Arkham game I have enjoyed the most, it was so good! Oh, I almost forgot. This game takes place during Christmas Eve, so you can expect to see a ton of Christmas decorations all around Gotham, and experience a handful of events filled with the Christmas spirit. Such as Batman dropping a guy from a rooftop into a Christmas tree, Alfred constantly trying to get Bruce Wayne to eat his Christmas dinner, which I think is very cute. And of course, one of the goons you interrogate can say this, which I find extremely funny.
Jingle bells! Batman smells! No.
Valhalla Cyberpunk Part Interaction, also declared by me as one of the greatest games ever made. A game about forgiveness, struggle, relationships, and most importantly, Mega Christmas! Not Christmas, but Mega Christmas! An event in which, as the game explains, celebrates Santa's resurrection as the Mega Santa that saved Christmas from the Red Months. During the game, there is a section in which many of your friends gather up at the bar to celebrate Mega Christmas. And this is easily one of the most memorable sections in the game. You get to play Truth or Dare with all your friends. And it is so cool, cause you can get completely different dialogue depending on your choices, which is honestly a good way to push you to repeat the day just to see what new dialogue you can get. Also, Mega Christmas in Valhalla just so happens to be the birthday of Stella Hoshi, one of the game's characters. Since she was born on December 25, she used to believe she was the reincarnation of Santa Claus. But because of that, every Mega Christmas she buys tons of gifts for children to make them happy. Mega Christmas is just a simple yet insanely charming section of the game. It adds much more personality to the world and these amazing characters. Oh, but we are not done with visual novels just yet. Ace Attorney. I couldn't simply not mention Turnabout Goodbyes, which still remains to this day one of the best, one of the craziest and most memorable cases in the entire series. One where you must solve a murder mystery tied to an incident from 15 years ago, whose events take place from December 24 to December 28. And even though this case isn't about learning the true meaning of Christmas or meeting Santa Claus, outside of Larry wearing a Santa suit, the date actually plays a key role in the game, as Phoenix Wright is able to use his friend's testimony to find a key contradiction that turns the entire case around. It is believed that the murder took place on December 25, but thanks to this new testimony, we learn that it actually took place just a few minutes before midnight, which leads to the iconic phrase, "Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas." This moment is amazing because it happens during a point where everything seemed lost, and this little testimony about not being Christmas yet is all we needed to finally find a flaw in the prosecutor's logic, finally giving the player room to breathe, and finally giving them hope that they can somehow save the defendant. There's not much more than I can say because this entire case is such a wild ride that if you still haven't played Ace Attorney yet, I don't want to spoil you the entire experience. You have to play it yourself because it is that crazy good. This scene left such an impact that every single year you will always see Ace Attorney fans posting the same "Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas" photo without fail. And that for me and many others has made this case a part of a yearly Christmas tradition. Pokémon. I guess I could bring up those cute Christmas specials from the anime, but I want to keep this video as gaming only. But even then, I want to bring your attention to Delibird, a Pokémon with a very close resemblance to Santa Claus who carries food in its sack-shaped tail and also loves to share presents with others. For the longest time, this Pokémon was well known due to how useless it was. It barely had any stats at all, its typing was horrible, its abilities next to worthless, and its signature move had a chance of healing the opponent. Delibird's only real achievement was having one of the best minigames in Pokémon Stadium 2, in which you must deliver a bunch of presents while avoiding getting hit by Swinubs. God, I love this minigame so much, it's really good. But yeah, outside of that, Delibird had absolutely nothing except for its Christmas spirit. However, 7 generations later, Delibird got into a horrible accident while delivering presents and had to get rid of its mortal flesh, becoming the robot we know nowadays as Iron Bundle, which bestowed it with a better typing, better stats, and was simply miles more useful and ridiculously strong. It's so funny how Delibird went from one of the worst Pokemon ever competitively to an absolute menace that got banned from OU in time record. So what's the lesson here? That the robotic artificial side of Christmas is stronger than the genuine and organic side? Nah, I'm pretty sure the lesson is that ice types are only useful when you make them go fast and hit hard instead of trying to make them tanks. You know, I think we have had it too good so far, so to balance it out, I'm going to talk about something really bad, something despicable, something insulting, something... Oh hi, Dead Rising 4! Yep, these games events take place after Christmas, and as such, you better expect to be able to put Hank Kist in a Santa outfit and make him wear ugly Christmas sweaters. There's a boss battle against a Santa Claus maniac. Some zombies are dressed up properly for the holidays. You can make a bunch of Christmas weapons, and the entire town of Willamette is fully decorated in true Christmas fashion. Does this all sound cool? Oh, trust me, it is not. It should be, but this game is so bad it can't even make a Christmas zombie apocalypse fun in the slightest. There is no cheer, there is no warmth, there is no Christmas spirit here. In fact, this is a game you play to ruin Christmas, or hell, any day of your life. It's a miserable experience with zero redeeming qualities, and it makes me really sad. And math. Okay, but do you know what always cheers me up? Yes! Do I love Free CC Pig from Banjo-Kazooie? No matter how many times I replay this game, this level is always a joy to return to because everything about it is so good, so memorable. It isn't just how festive and cheerful the level is, it's what you do in it. From climbing a giant snowman, riding a sled off its scarf and crash into a polar bear's stomach, race said polar bear all over the level, saving a bunch of Christmas tree lights from being eaten so they can light up the Christmas tree. You can befriend a racist walrus, and then you can give presents to some kids who are more concerned with getting gifts instead of their father's safety. And of course, the music in this level is just so magical and catchy. I know I made it clear already, but I love this level so much. As a child, it was pure bliss to just go around and discover secrets. As an adult, it is extremely fun to replay, and it always brings me back to that era of childlike wonder. It's such a great level. Now, as a small detour, you ever see how during the holidays companies always give their typical seasonal gradings on the internet? Yeah, most of the time these posts aren't worth talking about because it's the bare minimum, but honestly, one game studio that always goes the extra mile is HAL Laboratories. They love to show their love for Kirby no matter what, as they constantly release amazing art of the characters throughout the year, and these pieces of art are filled with so much charm and fan service. And with Christmas, there is no exception. Since 2016, HAL Laboratories has delivered fantastic Christmas art every year without fail, and oh my god, all of these are so adorable! You have King Dedede delivering presents to Kirby while dressed as Santa Claus and being accompanied by reindeer waddlebees. There's Kirby decorating Igoots from Star Allies with a bunch of enemy ornaments. Chef Kawasaki cooking an entire feast for everyone. And now, look at this! No way! Adeline and Ribbon representation, that is so cool! And check out this art from 2022. I know this is clearly celebrating New Year, but oh my god! Tiff, Toph and Escargoon, they're being recognized! You have no idea how happy it makes me that HAL Laboratories still acknowledges Kirby right back at ya! I love that anime! It's so great! Now, I know many of you were expecting this one to show up. Animal Crossing's Toy Day, an event based on Christmas hosted by a reindeer called Jingle, who will give presents to the players upon talking to him. This is especially funny, cause he will believe you're an entirely different person if you wear different outfits, and will continue to give you presents as long as you keep changing your clothes. It's like getting free samples from Costco. In New Leaf, however, you're the one who plays the role of Santa, and have to give gifts to all your villagers who spent the entire month giving you hints on what they want. So giving them the right gifts will reward the player with exclusive items. While in New Horizons, I don't know, because once again, I dropped the game. Here's another one that I couldn't ignore. Kingdom Hearts 2's Christmas Town, a level based on The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is so cool because in the first Kingdom Hearts game you only explore Halloween Town, and while it is a memorable world, I really love how the sequel expands on that by also taking us to Christmas Town. It was a great way to expand on the level by still following up on the source material, but of course mixing with a bunch of Kingdom Hearts shenanigans. My favorite part in the story is when Donald steps on the bug that is supposed to represent Oogie Boogie's brain, and that is really funny to think about. Donald just casually murders someone on screen. And one detail I really appreciate is that, even though this is still just the Nightmare Before Christmas world, Christmas Town still care enough to give unique costumes to the main protagonists. Sora retains some of his vampire features from Halloween Town, but now sports a black Santa Claus outfit that honestly looks really cool, while Donald and Goofy become a snowman and a reindeer respectively. It's little things like that that make me appreciate Kingdom Hearts. Now, we return once again to Cave Story. Just like how the game gets an entire Halloween coat of paint, you get an entire Christmas-themed game if you play it between December 26 and January 6. All areas now look like they take place during the winter, and some of them even get some Christmas decorations here and there. Some enemies get a few festive ornaments, and most NPCs start to wear winter clothing, and some others go with Santa costumes. Hell, the true final boss might as well just be Santa himself. Well, if this is your idea of Christmas, that is. But here's something cool I didn't know about until doing research for this video. Cave Story got a Christmas spin-off in 2021 called Cave Story Secret Santa, a stealth puzzle game where you play as Santa the Mimica, and have to infiltrate houses to return stolen presents without being spotted. It is extremely short, but hey, it is free, and it is still a nice little experience for Cave Story fans out there. Now we move to one of my favorite franchises, Pikmin. Starting with the second game, we have the Frontier Cavern. When you look at this place, it might not look very festive. I mean, just because it's covered in snow doesn't mean it's about Christmas. But that's where you collect the Frigid series, a collection of treasures all based around Christmas, like a grab present, a bell, a star, and a bunch of other Christmas tree ornaments. Okay, it might not seem like much, and it isn't really. But in the sequel, Pikmin 3, Nintendo knew how to make an extremely memorable Christmas level with the Fortress of Festivity, a stage exclusive to the game's mission mode, which... oh, it's so good! Not only is it tough to get a platinum medal here, but the entire setup is just so pretty and so cool! Most of the obstacles here are presents of different sizes. There are a bunch of ribbons and socks decorated with images of the Pikmin. There's this cool part where you slide around a Christmas tree which lands you on a cake. And then you fight a
giant enemy crab
on top of a pizza. It's so simple, yet it's so good. It stands out in the best possible ways. Also, fun fact, this is the only map in all of Pikmin 3 in which all 7 species of Pikmin were playable at the same time, so it is no wonder why this map was very challenging. Now, this is the part where I tell you that a lot of gacha games also love to do their own Christmas events, but since the only gacha game I know anything about is Fire Emblem Heroes, then I'm just straight up jumping into that, and you know what that means. Talk about my favorite character arts from the Winter Festival. Starting off, we have Mirabilis, drawn by Enkyo Yuichiro. I've always been a fan of these artists because they somehow managed to make me appreciate pastel colors. and Mirabilis is no exception. This art is so beautiful, so colorful, and so adorable, and the fact that Mirabilis was already one of my favorite heroes OCs is just a cherry on top. Next up we have Marth, drawn by Mayo. This art stands out for how soft their characters tend to look, and for a character like Marth, that is a great fit. It is very wholesome to see him share a fun event with his own sister, who in the game spends most of her time being kidnapped or being used as a sacrifice. Now we have Cecilia, and this one was guaranteed to show up because she was drawn by Kita Senri. Every single piece of art this woman has done is a cut above the rest, and Winter Cecilia is no exception. It's such a great art, and just you wait, cause another piece of art made by her will show up again. Sefiel by Fujisaka Kimihiko. Look, I don't think this art is like among the best of the best. Personally, I think it's just okay. But sometimes what I appreciate the most is when artists pay attention to the smallest of details. In Sefiel's case, his Winterall has him hold a plushie of a baby fox, which is a reference to a cutscene in Blazing Blade in which he gives one as a pet to his younger sister. Sadly, this baby fox gets killed by his awful father, but hey, I still think it's a cute callback on how Sefiel genuinely cares for his sister. And speaking of attention to detail, Arthur and Bernadetta, both drawn by Toby. Not only is this artist extremely talented, but these two pieces in particular have some great fanservice. Arthur's weapon is a snow globe, that on the inside has a figure resembling a wyvern. Well, that is because it is a wyvern, Cormac's Genarok specifically. This is a reference to their supports in Sacred Stones in which Cormac's wyvern becomes fast friends with Arthur. And I also have to point out, I love how in his damaged art the Snow Wyvern becomes concerned that the globe is about to break. It's the little things, you know? And same thing with Bernadetta. Her art has her holding the plushie of a hedgehog. This is a reference to a lost item you can find in 3 houses, which just so happens to be an accessory case embroidered with a cute hedgehog. And said hedgehog became so associated with Bernadetta that it even returned for her spring alt. You gotta love when artists do stuff like that. Tharja by Washimoto. This is easily one of the funniest units in all of Heroes because in this alt, Tharja is trying extremely hard to act like a normal person, which is very hilarious. But also, need I remind you this is a winter festival? It's so ridiculous, but it stands out a lot. Not even the freezing cold will stop her from getting Robin's attention. And you know what the craziest part is? This is considered an armored unit. This is considered an armored unit. I have no punchline here. The joke writes itself. Hilda by Hako. I love how dynamic the attack pose is. The coloring and lighting is spectacular. This is probably the most effort Hako has put in their art. And also, this is Hilda. She's one of my favorite Three Houses characters, so that's an extra bonus. The Black Knight by Yamada Kotaro. I just love how hard he clashes with the rest of the Winter Festival. This man saw his menacing armor, put some snow and Christmas decorations on top of it, and started to give gifts to children hoping they won't get scared. It's so unique and cool looking. I love it a lot. And finally, we have Altina, drawn once again by the amazing, the incredible, the immaculate Kita Senri. I've gone on a record to say this is one of my favorite arts in all of Heroes, and I mean, can you blame me? This is probably like top 10 for me. Every single thing about it is excellent. The poses, the colors, the lighting, the outfits. There is so much going on in these arts, but it doesn't feel crowded, and it is so adorable to have Sanaki team up with her ancestor. I don't know how Kita Senri did it, but this art is simultaneously cute and cool at the same time. Again, one of my favorites, not just in Heroes, but in all Fire Emblem. And that's that. I'm very sure there's plenty more Christmas stuff in video games that I didn't mention here. So if you think there's anything I missed, or you wanna share a cool Christmas story in video games, then please, let me know in the comments. And while you're on that, thank you so much for your time. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you could support the channel, you know, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, or Patreon, that will mean so much to me. In fact, consider that my Christmas present. How does that sound? Anyway, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Have a wonderful day and take care. I'll see you next time.